Hi, Elizabeth. This is the first of 4 messages you're going to receive from me here in the next moments, where I invite you to be a member of the 10. And you can say, well, who's the 10? Well, there are 10 people that I've selected. And there you are on the list. You can read the other names. I'm sure you recognize them. So why you? Why the 10? Well, you, because you're famous or semi-famous, you're educated and intelligent, and many times over the course of your public life, you have expressed a desire and an interest to act in the greater good. And these traits, these exact same traits, were shared by the revolutionaries back in the 1700s, the guys who wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and made the decisions about, treason against the King of England and all of the associated penalties associated with that, and, throwing off the burden of governance from England and envisioning all the bad things that were going on today or at the time, and a future state that was much better. And this 10, so this group, these people have what I hope is enough influence that nucleus of people, the 10, can help us go from our current state to a future state. Now, I'm in no way talking about treason today. In fact, I want to talk about our government structure just for a minute. So our current structure, the country inserted Donald Trump into what most people feel is, probably the most important position in our entire government. Now, Mr. Trump has got to be one of the most horrendous, worst choices that we could ever make, that we could ever envision putting in that. And he's an acid test. He's an atomic bomb exploding inside the structure of our government. And yet it continues. Yet it persists. Yet it it continues to function. Okay, admittedly, a lot of people would say, well, it's not as good as it was a few years ago. Okay, I'm not arguing about that, but for the most part, things have not changed that much. And it's a testament to the structure, even with Donald Trump in the most key, important position, that it continues to work reasonably well. Okay? So if it's not the structure of government that's the problem, why can't we get anything done? Why can't we be a whole lot better than we are? Why can't we do so much more than we do? Well, the answer is Trump and the other bad candidates that we end up inserting into that structure. It's not the structure, it's the bad people in the structure that are causing the trouble, that are stopping us from being all that we could be. Well, where do those bad candidates come from? Well, quite honestly, we have these political parties, okay? And probably better, well, much better than I do even. Okay, here they are. You have some dozens of people on both sides, in one political party or the other, and these people, they would be king. They seek wealth, influence, and power. Okay, that's the truth. And what happens is a fair number of, basically almost all the candidates have some portion of them that also would be king. Now, you may argue that that's not true for you, but I would argue it is. And here's why. I think that anyone that would be willing to, go on the buses and eat all the fried foods at the Iowa State Fair and take all the abuse and the rhetoric and shake their people's hands until their hands are falling off and on. There has to be at least a portion of them that would be king. because otherwise they have to at least seek some level of adulation or power, or the feeling of being in this powerful, influential position, because otherwise they wouldn't do it. Okay? Otherwise they wouldn't do it. And so here we are in this past and current state where we have people who would be king helping us find more candidates who would be king. And I'm suggesting that there's a future state where we are finding candidates that are just, intelligent, hardworking, reasoned and reasonable people who just want to serve, not themselves, but the nation. Okay, that's a future state. Here we are in the past and present. Here's the future, and in between is a chasm. So the question for the 10, as a group and individually, is how do we cross the chasm? Now, I have some ideas about that, but ultimately, just like when we were going from under the rule of the King of England to an independent country, there was this chasm in between, and there was some handfuls of influential people that helped us get from the first state to the second. And without them, it would have never happened. And I'm proposing that the 10 is just that nucleus that could do that for us. Now, who am I? I'm a guy, Hudson, Wisconsin. Okay? And I tell you a whole lot more about me, but the second message that I have sent you is about me. It contains, or it has a link to a video. I think it's 30 minutes long. And I thought long and hard about how I could communicate who I am in the very best, most efficient way. And I chose one of the most important stories from my life, and I tell you that story in that video. And I apologize. I'm not a filmographer. I'm not, professional in any way, shape, or form. I shot it on my iPhone, put it on the internet so you could watch it on YouTube. And it, you may say, well, it starts out small and all this, or slow, I should say, and but it's well worth watching. And I strongly encourage you to watch it all the way through to the end. And if you are the person that I think you are, if you have the personality that I think you do, I warn you that it's very likely you will shed more than a few tears toward the end of this video. And then the third and fourth messages also come with associated links to other videos where I talk about these straw man proposals and why I think the way, what I think about the things as they are today and how they could be, and why they're so much better, and why this chasm is in between, and how we might try to get across that chasm. One of the things that I'm trying to do, I'm just a guy in Hudson, Wisconsin. Well, how do you bring attention to this? How do you get somebody to pay attention? So you try whatever you can. Back in January, I went ahead and I filed, the paperwork, and you did this too, to be a candidate for President of the United States, hoping that I could, that would help bring attention to this. And the other reason is when you're talking about making a significant change in the way things are done, it's very good to try to get in the middle of the way things are currently done, right? To understand that better and better, so that it just helps you understand the current situation and how you might move beyond it. And so that's the second message in the associated video. And then, like I said, the third and fourth videos have this discussion about the current and past state and the future state, and how we might go about bridging across them. Well, so I'm inviting you to participate in the 10. this what I hope is an influential group that would help guide the nation from one position to the other. Whether or not you choose to do that, well, that only you can answer, of course. I hope you say yes. And in any case, until I hear from you, bye for now.